Hi, and welcome back to an episode of Lunch and Life with me, Robin Joy, and my co host.
Sharon.
And welcome to April. Last month, we talked about decluttering and detoxing, and this month, April, is all about spring and lighter, longer days and sunshine, and hopefully no more winter weather.
Hopefully that'll be, I think we're done with winter for sure. Maybe not the wind, but certainly the snow and the ice and the frigid temperatures.
Hopefully, I will take you up on that one.
Yeah.
But this time of year, it's really interesting because you think with the sunshine and warmer temperatures and everybody's outside. Well, you should be outside. Everyone's trying to get outside and walk around. Um, People are happier. And actually, it's quite a challenging time of year for everybody. Well, many people really deal with mental health at this time of year. Um, High pollen count's an issue. High pollen count yields to allergies. Allergies yields to inflammation and anxiety. Also, longer days.
hmm And interestingly, it's like, it's kind of which came first, the chicken or the egg, because the high pollen count exacerbates the inflammation. But when your body is inflamed, it increases the allergies and your ability to either resist or fall prey to seasonal allergies and sneezing and a ton of other symptoms that you could experience during this time.
True. And I actually think, too, everyone wearing masks, obviously, we have to with COVID. That probably doesn't help either because we haven't been outside. And even when we are outside, we're still covering up. So we're not used to those scents and we're kind of obviously covering our immunity, which we need to cover and be safe.
hmm And
But there'll be some report down the road.
oh, I'm sure. But even speaking of immunity, it's still, we think, oh, we need to keep increasing our and focusing on our immune system in the wintertime. But it's all year round that we need to focus on improving our immune system. And, you and I were talking earlier that your three C's of always having, right, a choice.
Choice, chance, and change.
Yeah, there you go, right?
You
And
always have a choice to take a chance to make a change.
always. And so I had written a post on Instagram. I also sent it to my email list this past weekend because I took a walk in Central Park and actually before the weekend. And it was just so, it was a beautiful day out. And there were all these flowers, purple and yellow and white, and the trees were starting to bud. And I'm actually going to look down for a minute because I just wrote a couple of things that how being outdoors and the longer days and the fresh air and the birds chirping just made me think about how we go through cycles just like Mother Nature does, and how we go through periods of dormancy and rebirth, right? Just like the trees and the flowers. So much of what we experience can either paralyze us or propel us. And to your point of you have a choice to take a chance to make a change, this is a really great reminder of that rebirth, that we all have a choice to improve our health and to change our stories and to feel better.
I love that. I love that you did that, because I really think whatever stage, it could be obviously the seasons, um, that people really, it goes with the pause, take that pause. And when you're feeling overwhelmed and when you're feeling burdened, like to take that pause and not beat yourself up, just kind of sit and see what the trigger is and what is bothering you, what it's stemming from, kind of pinpoint where it's from and realize you're going to be okay. Like just try and see what the origin is and then work through it. But you always do have a choice to take a chance to make a change. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but
Right.
it's just there's a rebirth, there's a restart, there's a movement forward.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, there's something to be said about being outdoors and seeing this because trees, plants, they don't think about what was last year. They don't think, oh my God, winter's coming. I'm going to die because my leaves are falling off, or, the plants, perennials, they die. They don't,
Mhm.
it's like they just come back the next year. They start afresh, they start anew. And we have that same choice to be able to take our thoughts, because everything's just a projection of what we're thinking. And
Mhm.
we have just becoming aware, that awareness, right? That first step of becoming aware so that you can do something about it, writing it down, the 5 minutes that you talk about in the morning. Why not? Right?
Right,
Why
right,
not? Yeah, always have a choice. So if it's a 50-50, why not go for the positive?
right.
And yeah.
It's kinda like the glass half full versus half empty. And, it's interesting because if you start really kind of looking at nature, here in DC, it's, the cherry blossoms. I still don't understand why everyone gathers around the trees to go see that. They're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but,
Mhm.
you know, you
But isn't
all
it
don't.
don't but doesn't the whole mall, like, have, like, all the trees lined up? Isn't that what part of it? Because it's just so
It is.
beautiful, it's
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
trying to control the crowds this year, so who knows what'll happen, but it is a rebirth, but there's a beauty to it, and so you celebrate that beauty, and if people could turn that inward and celebrate their inner beauty, um, people might think differently.
Yeah. But then on the flip side, as we were also talking about earlier before we came on, the notion that yes, the days are longer, the sun is out, but yet some people, even with these longer days and all this sunshine, you would think that everybody would be happy,
Right.
and they're not.
They're not. And part of that actually, and here's where some of this is normal, that people need to be aware of things. So some of that is melatonin, your hormone for sleep, is actually underproduced because as the day is extended, your melatonin production is decreased. So very often when you don't have enough sleep, depression is the underlying, result of that. So um, people aren't getting enough sleep.
Mhm.
They're staying out, daylight's longer and so forth. So
Right.
you do have to be aware of that.
And in addition to that, the inflammation in the gut, because so much of the melatonin is produced in the gut. So if we're prone to the allergies and we have some inflammation and we're not paying attention to what's happening, we can't produce that melatonin there either, right? So it's a double whammy. It's the
Right,
body and then those long days. And then you think, why do the cases of suicide increase in April and May? Why does mental health become such an issue in the springtime? And it's really so, it's like a perfect storm happening that our bodies kind of set itself up for that we're just unaware of.
right. So it's really, it does come down to awareness. So it's awareness for you, it's awareness for others to check on each other. Just watch people's patterns. Just if you see a change in behavior, if you see someone just kind of withdrawing and tuning out rather than tuning in, check on people
Mhm.
because this is really still a very sensitive time where loneliness and isolation is huge anyways,
Mhm.
right? We're in this fine teeter-totter thing going on because some people are getting their vaccines and there's this, well, some feel comfortable to go out, some don't feel comfortable to go out.
Mhm.
And then you're dealing with these elements of springtime, which who knew that, mental health really was a challenge.
Right.
And it really does spike. It spikes now, mid-April and into May.
Yeah.
And actually, the CDC did a study where since June of 2020, there's a 40% increase of mental illness and the suicide rate, 40% increase since June of 2020.
Wow, that's alarming. It's really alarming. So, in addition to your recommendation of checking in with other people, also every morning taking those 5 minutes to just do a body scan on yourself and checking in with yourself of where am I? How am I feeling? And doing it throughout the day to connect to you. Because if things start feeling off, being able to recognize it so that you can reach out to someone else also, right? It's like you
Right,
want to reach out to help others, but then it's also how can I become more aware and just breathe and pay attention and notice what's going on in my body, and wow, something feels different, I don't know what it is. And sometimes we can't figure it out by ourselves. Picking up the phone and calling a close friend, family, whoever, and asking for help and saying, hey, I'm stuck, I don't know what this is, and I need help.
right. And frankly, there's hotlines, right? SAMHSA.
Yes.
Um, there's plenty of hotlines, even 911. If you're that stuck, then call. I mean, don't ever hesitate because you're not alone. Bottom
You're
line is you're
not.
not alone.
You're not. And the big thing, and you and I, this comes up in conversation too, is this feeling of shame and guilt and, you know, just being vulnerable. And the
Mhm.
more that you can embrace that and just let it go and surrender into it, the quicker you'll be able to cross that bridge so that you can find your path to healing.
Right. Right.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
going to be a great month because there's, from going in March with the detox and the decluttering to the body, the mental, the physical, it's a great way to propel yourself to really so much joy and happiness for summer, right? Because there's so much to look forward to. So taking stock of where you are right now,
Hmm.
just you deserve it.
Absolutely. And it's hard to believe like we're really hitting the middle of spring. Like it's just going so quickly.
Yeah, yeah. What a difference a year makes, right?
Literally a year.
Yeah.
What a difference a year makes.
Yeah. So with melatonin, just also something to think about for people is nuts and seeds and asparagus and vegetables, eating whole foods and finding that fresh produce to help increase your melatonin levels is helpful too, right? So we want to try to minimize the sugar and all the standard American diet foods and the processed foods. This is really a great time to focus on a healthier way of eating so that it'll help you to produce more melatonin while you're going through some of these other changes for yourself. So, a lot of food for thought.
That's great advice though, because the freshness is out there. Farmers markets are opening, um, so it's more accessible.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great way also to just segue into like next week, we'll be talking more about the gut side and other like happy, feel good hormones. And this
Hmm.
month is just all about helping you find ways to embrace the longer days, the self care, and the understanding that it's also going to be a little emotional and to find what's going to work for you so that you can ride out a little bit of a roller coaster this month.
Absolutely. And remember, it's the one thing. So if it's that one vegetable you're going to add in,
Yeah.
it's the one thing. But bottom line, it's taking care of you. So I think that's a good place to stop
I
actually this week.
agree. I agree. As always, I love unpacking lunch with you, Robin, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Likewise. Have a great day.